Administration intends to use the ongoing government shutdown as an opportunity to implement permanent cuts to what he referred to as Democrat programs. The announcement comes amid a standoff in the Senate where a Republican bill to fund the government is struggling to garner enough votes. Meanwhile,
and we'll be making cuts that will be permanent, and we're only going to cut Democrat programs. I hate to tell you, I guess that makes sense, but we're only cutting Democrat programs. But we're going to start that, and we have Russell can talk to you about it if he wants to, but we'll be cutting some very popular Democrat programs that aren't popular with Republicans, frankly, because that's the way it works. They wanted to do this, so we'll give them a little taste of their own medicine. But Chuck Schumer.
Meanwhile, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has noted that the shutdown has delayed key support for farmers as the administration had planned to announce aid for the sector, something that will now be postponed. He also highlighted a new Congressional Budget Office report showing a slight dip in the U.S. budget deficit for fiscal year 2025. Let's listen in.
Well, I come with some good news this morning, and Treasury, because of the Schumer shutdown, will not be able to release the exact numbers, but the CBO jumped the gun a bit, and it was on Bloomberg this morning that the deficit for this fiscal year, ending September 30th, will be slightly.
Now for this discussion, we're joined by retired Major General Sudha Karji. He's a senior geopolitical and strategic defense expert, joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you very much, Major General Sudha Karji, for joining us again. Good to see you. Now, looking at this, it's the 9th day of shutdown of U.S. government. How does this President Trump's use of this shutdown reflect his stance on Democrat programs?
Yeah, Asuma, good morning.
Good morning.
For the better understanding of our audience, let me clarify certain issues, because there are people who have been sending me messages also seeking clarification. This shutdown of government is a routine thing as far as USA is concerned. So one should not get unduly perturbed and alarmed by this. However, what has happened this time is Donald Trump, he has reduced the size of the national government in many very relevant and important branches drastically since he has assumed the office of presidency. This generally doesn't happen. Shutdown is nothing very out of the way, but by virtue of having reduced the size of the government, that is why the problem is being created. And second thing that we need to understand, that America has got a system wherein the different branches of the government have to reach an agreement on spending plans before they can become a law. So the law is supposed to actually, before reaching October, before 1st of October, the agreement should have reached. And third thing that our viewers will do well to understand is that as of today, the Republicans, they dominate both the houses in the Congress, the Congress lower house as also the upper house, the Senate. However, in Senate, they are short by 60 votes. That's where the Democrats have got a negotiating power. While the bill for next financial year has already passed the muster in the lower house, but it is not passed in the upper house, that is the Senate. And therefore, this delay is going on. And where is it going to lead to? That is anybody's guess. Last point I wish to respond in this is that it will do well for our viewers to understand that which are the branches. You will be surprised, most of us will be surprised, that some of the flights they have been cancelled or delayed because of a shortage of air traffic controllers, because some of the officials and the staff, they either have been sent on some kind of a temporary leave, or they have been sent on furlough, or they have been put under no salary, no pay. So under these circumstances, people don't turn up for their duties, and the shortage of air traffic controllers is actually resulting in cancellation of the flights. Similarly, if you look at other issues like, lots of workers, they have been called in sick, estimated that staffing levels have dropped to almost about 50% at times in some areas. Social security, Medicare checks are still being sent out. Government employees deemed non-essential have been furloughed, like I covered. And several agencies like Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and National Institute of Health have also been furloughed. Many workers affecting ongoing research projects are actually not turning up. Services like the Food Assistance Program and federally funded preschool and institutions like the Smithsonian museums have been reduced for close likewise. So where does it take it to? And on top of it, Donald Trump is threatening to use this particular opportunity to further cut down the size of the government, meaning the number of staff which he had cut down initially when Elon Musk was at his peak in discharging his mandate. So he is making use of this opportunity to go in for this. Now, this is the 9th day, Asoma, you have brought out. Every day shutdown of the government leads to, I was reading in some Western literature, leads to reduction of the USA GDP by 0.02%. And also, it increases the inflation by a certain percentage, the figure of which I am not very sure, so hence I will not disclose through your very credible channel. Also, it says that every day there is a degree of debt which is mounting on the government. So if it was $37 trillion earlier, the 9 days put together would have actually mounted the debt as well. So these are the implications which USA is going through, but it is a routine thing. This time only exceptional issue is that Donald Trump has cut down the government sizes in most of the important branches and departments significantly, thereby causing a lot of stress and pain in the performance of the bottom line, bare minimum discharge of the mandate and responsibility to keep the government machinery efficient and functional.
Thank you, Sudhakarji. You have laid it all out so simply and informative, and you've given it all. I just wanted to ask, why is US President Donald Trump aiming for cut down of what is the benefit for or his particular administration to cut down on the government sizing?
So my excellent question. Even I have been asking the same question to myself. Why is he doing what he is doing? You see, everything that one does, it has to have a historical background. It has to have a very futuristic objective. In the instant case, the objective was very noble. They wanted to cut down, okay, let me put it in this manner. Today, the government of US requires something to the tune of $6 trillion to run the administration efficiently. The revenue generated in the entire United States per year is approximately $4 trillion. So there is a deficiency of $2 trillion a year to run the administration. Plus, they have a debt of $37 trillion. What it means to the common man is nothing, unless it is explained in a simplistic manner. $37 trillion US debt means every year the government of US has to dole out to the tune of $1 trillion US simply to do the interest servicing. So 1 trillion here, 2 trillion there, total 3 trillion deficiency is there in the government in United States. Therefore, Elon Musk, the job that he started off, DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, when he started off, his basic task and mandate was to cut down the government expenditure so smoothly that the work efficiency should not be affected. However, the government should minimize its expenditure to run the administration to a functional and acceptable level. So while doing so, balancing out is a very fine art. Not anyone and everyone can do. And if you do things in a jiffy, which has taken 200 years to build up, well, it will have very serious implications. So what Donald Trump is doing is trying to address a disease which has actually caught on to the roots of the United States culture and the present population of the country so deeply that any corrections, any medicine to remedy overnight is going to be counterproductive. Therefore,
Yes.
he I would advise that he resorts to a spectrum of short term, medium term, long term. Short term, he should contain the situation. Medium term, he should actually counter it effectively. And long term should be to address it squarely and boldly, maybe for 25, 30 years or 50 years from now. So therefore, it will do him good to think it over and pace out his measures that he is taking to effectively counter and address the menace which has been actually plaguing the US administration financially.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Major General, for putting it all out and sharing that insight with us.